Welcome home, Raiders. This week, Mythic Blackrock Foundry releases, and the race to world first begins. But when will it end? Hans and Franz are making people puke, and so much more. This is Convert to Raid number 171.
You're listening to Convert to Raid, the podcast for raiders in the world of Warcraft.
The Convert to Raid podcast power station in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Today is February 15th. Happy Valentine's Day. It's belated, sure, but still happy Valentine's Day, everybody. My name is Pat Crane. I am the host of this shambling show, and it really is going to probably be shambling, this show, for sure. And still raiding Airy Peak, US, on the old Resto Druid. And I hear Derry's headset in the background.
Uh-oh.
So we're gonna let him turn down his headset a little bit before we go out to his remote location somewhere on the Beast Coast, South Carolina. It's Derry's.
Oh, hi.
Hi, buddy.
Yeah, I'm not at home today.
No, you're not.
I'm away. I'm in South Carolina, so I'm not in Sleepy Seattle.
No, not Sleepy Seattle. Sleepy South Carolina.
Less so. I actually got to wake up at a reasonable hour to do the show.
Of course. Well, why don't we go to La La Land, to Hollywood, California, to the Funky Monk, to Coltrane.
Fortune cookies say,
Oh, boy.
warriors do bad business when they charge too much. Huh?
Haven't you used that one before?
No!
You sure about that?
Well, look, it's either that one or what do you call 100 paladins in a lake? A bubble bath. Yeah.
No!
That's 2 for 2, baby.
I don't know.
Two
I
for
don't
the
know.
price of one, right? I mean, that's
Twice
a
the
deal.
horrible.
That is a CtR deal right there.
Right.
And the chat room explodes with negativity.
With
no,
negative-
they love
minus
it. They
10
go crazy.
bongos. Minus 10, minus 1 out of 10.
No, they
0,
love it. They love it.
million. Okay, all right. I see some.
Charges you
I see
bongos.
some things happening, so that's good.
There we go. See,
That's
now everyone's exploding. They love the pally. They love the paladin joke. So listen, I was given an option of 2, and clearly I chose the wrong one. So it's my fault.
Right.
But that was sent in by Magic or Agony of Misha, Misha from Horde US.
Well,
thank you very much.
Thanks for participating as always, and that was horrible.
Yes. Yeah.
That was good. That was nice. So let's talk a little bit of WoW. And Darius, I know you're in a room that is different from the room that you are normally in. You sound a little bit different. You sound a little bit, like you're in a remote location. But what have you been up to in WoW this week?
So because I've been traveling most of this week, I've done garrison missions, and that's about it.
Okay.
On Sunday before I left, though, I did a little bit of raiding.
Okay.
With the Asparagus Initiative,
Right. Let's talk about that in just a second. We've got special music for that.
Now let me ask you
now.
too, and it's amazing, epic, incredible music. Now, when you do the garrison missions, have Blackrock Foundry missions unlocked for you yet? Like cash, like those little.
No, not a cache. I got a cache a couple days ago, and it was still High Mall. It was still a High Mall cache, but from what I was reading in the tweets from, I think Blizzard Dev tweeted out this week that High Mall caches and Blackrock caches are independent of one another. So their cooldowns are different. Whether you win or lose, doesn't depend on getting the other. So I'm expecting to get one, in the next couple days here.
Hopefully. Woo. Yeah. That would be nice. Be nice to get that Blackrock loot, right?
Absolutely. Got to get that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotta get that.
So,
wow.
So Colt, what have you been up to in WoW this week?
Well, old Coltrane had some trouble in the raid last week. Now, if you recall, I mentioned about, the Windwalkers, from what I'm hearing, not doing so good. But, I'm sure it's fine. We'll see how it goes.
Right.
And it was pretty eye-opening. In fact, it blew my mind so much. I played terrible the whole night just because I was so thrown off. Basically, what happened was, in High Mall, I went from top 2 DPS, 1 to 3, usually 1 or 2 or 3 DPS, pretty much every fight, to doing the exact same thing, but in Foundry being just above the tanks, barely above the tanks.
Right.
And that really throws you off, man. You know what I mean? When you're kicking booty and then all of a sudden I'm I am barely above the tank. And what was interesting was I was doing about the same DPS. I was doing 30K or somewhere around there, which was good DPS for High Mall.
Right.
But now everyone else was doing 50K. You know what I mean? So I was oh my gosh. So Windwalkers, I was kind of freaking out a little bit, oh my gosh, just like everybody else. But, keeping to myself, trying to stay positive. And then yesterday, there was an update to the PTR patch notes. And all of a sudden, the light. And this buff came to Windwalkers, this glorious, beautiful buff. In fact, it wasn't a buff. It was actually reverting back to how Windwalkers used to be. But Rising Sun Kick will now increase damage by 20%, which is huge. So that's coming in 6.1. So cool. I want 6.1 to happen today. I know they usually wait till Tuesday. But since we raid tonight, I'd like the patch to drop right now.
Please just drop this tonight. Can't this just be a quick hot fix?
Yeah,
and you don't need a patch for it or anything like that? Come on, guys. Let's go.
If you can push all the other stuff off for 6.1, fine. But the Windwalker buff or reverse of the nerf.
Yeah.
Let's do that now. Let's do that now before the raid tonight.
See, I'm dreading 6.1 because there's a bunch of nerfs for Disc Priest in there, and I'm gonna have to go from being a 1-button class to probably 2 buttons.
What? Oh, man. Come on.
Now I know how mages feel.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
and monks now, too.
Right. Yes, of course. Oh, my gosh. So, it was kind of it was an emotional roller coaster this week for the Windwalker community. But we're feeling better now. We got a nice little buff coming in. We should be doing all right. So, good.
Right. Good. And I know that for me this week, I was actually trying out my shaman a little bit, leveling shaman as an enhancement.
Nice.
Not quite there yet, and I can tell I'm not quite there yet because I had a couple of times where I was like, what are my cooldowns again? What are they? Who do I need to, which totem do I need to throw down? Which cooldown do I need to use to make sure to live through this, questing boss, essentially? One of those, or a rare or something like that. And not quite there. So I might be streaming this week, and if I am, come on in and tell me how to play enhancement, because clearly I don't have a clue.
Right.
I know you throw out, flame shock, and then you do something. I don't even know. Lava lash is
your storm strike in there.
Right. There's 4 or 5 things that you have to hit.
I think if you get CLC ret, I've been told that helps.
Yes.
CLC ret.
The Ret Pally rotation add-on. I've been told it works just for everything. Just get that.
I use it on my monk all the time. It works great.
It works like a charm. Like
it
a
really
charm.
does.
Judgment? What? All right.
Yeah, just judge a lot. There you go.
Right. Well, let's check in with the official raid team of the Convert to Raid podcast. That's right. It's time to talk about the Asparagus Initiative. Yeah.
What's up, Mythic? You're right.
That is. It's nice. It's nice. I like it. So let's talk a little bit about the Asparagus Initiative. Darius, catch us up. What we went into BRF, right?
Yeah. So Sunday night we went into Blackrock Foundry a week ago, and it was awesome. We went in and we skipped normals, and we went right into heroics. And I think the first night we cleared 3 or 4 bosses, and the second night we cleared a couple more. So we're now 6 of 10 heroic.
Yes. Oh, big applause. Sorry.
Yeah. In 2 nights, and man, are those fights fun! I'm loving that place.
Yeah,
it's so much fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and we'll go over all the fights in a little bit this show. We're gonna really kind of dive into Blackrock coming up. So that's gonna be good. But do you have a favorite encounter?
Oh,
right now that we've done.
Like when we started, I thought it was
Right.
And then we went to Thogar, and that one was maybe my favorite. And then we did Hans and Franz, and now maybe that one's my favorite. I can't.
Yeah,
they just keep getting better.
Right. And it's kind of funny because I asked on Twitter, people what their favorite fight was, and really it was between those three, and then somebody said Beastmaster Darmak, I think, and then other people were just saying like every fight is so fun, and I think they've really kind of knocked this out of the park. Colt, how about you? Do you have a favorite?
I do, man, and it's actually Hans and Franz.
Hans and Franz.
I love this fight.
Yeah.
And I guess it's obviously it's more for the environment. Like I love the conveyor belt thing and the little Pop-Tarts or Hot Pockets coming out.
I like calling them Hot Pockets.
And then the stamps, the big stamps, and I like trying to DPS while dodge and do this, that. Like I just had the biggest grin on my face that whole fight. I was just smiling the whole time, which was good because I was pretty much depressed on the Windwalker DPS the whole night. I was like in tears, and also I was like, Hans and Franz.
I actually have some sound clips from that fight. Here's one of them.
Defenseless weakling.
There we go.
Yes.
It's just a fun fight. They really kind of capture the essence of what Hans and Franz was on Saturday Night Live, and for those guys that don't know about that,
unfortunately, Cold though, you might not be brought in too much longer because looking at some of the kill rosters for Mythic, it looks like most of the teams are not taking any melee to that fight. And I think it was one of them, I can't remember which, brought 7 survival hunters to that fight.
Yeah, I think that was...
this is from Mythic.
Was that Method?
Yeah, this is from Mythic. It was Method or one of the... I can't remember which team it was, but they brought 7 survival hunters and no melee.
Right. Wow. Well, let's talk about that in just a second because we're going to talk about the Mythic race as well. But before we do, I just want to say that we've got the Alpha Geek Radio stream going today. Just a little program note. We got it going. We didn't have any tech issues this morning, so I could actually turn it on, and it seems to. I think it's working. As far as I know, it's working. We'll just make sure about that, but. All the lights are on, so that's good. So now you can get us the live stream through your mobile device, through Roku, stuff like that. If you go to alphageekradio.com, you can check it out over there and see how you can grab us on your mobile phone. All right. And one thing before the rating news that I wanted to talk about, just real quick, I want to say congratulations to everybody over at Blizzard that is doing the music over there. I mean,
yes, this is huge.
Jeez, these guys are getting nominated for so many awards right now. It's insane. And if you're not listening if you don't have the music turned on in game, do it because this is they're getting nominated for all sorts of things. The latest thing was they got nominated for an ASCAP Composer's Choice Award, which is incredible. These are huge honors that they're getting for the Warlords soundtrack. So
music is just so good.
It really is. It really is. And I've been playing it before our shows, before we hop in for the little pre-show bits that we do. And I can't get enough. It's like every week I want to play that stuff. I want to hear that myself. So yeah, good on you.
Really, they added a lot of different colors and a different, palette to it. You know what I mean? There was a lot of different sounds and it just, I absolutely love it. This is the one where I remember it was like the assault on Shatrath or something, and I was just like, listen to the music. This is the most epic thing ever. It's unbelievable. It was great.
It's very, very cool. And so, grats to Blizzard for creating such wonderful music, and it goes for everything. I mean, just like everything is just beautiful about it. It's not just the composition; it's everything. I really like it. Anyway, let's move on to the Raiden news.
Calling all raiders from around World of Warcraft land. This is Raiding News.
All right, it's time to check out what's happening in raiding news around World of Warcraft land. And first up, let's talk about the Mythic race a little bit. This week we saw the release of Mythic, Blackrock Foundry, and Darius, how are we doing with the WoW, with the rankings right now?
So right now we've got Method is number 1, and they are 7 of 10 Mythic at this moment. Or sorry, 9 of 10. They a couple hours ago they finally got down Blast Furnace, which no one else has. And then we've got about another 12 guilds or so that are 8 of 10 that are stuck on Blast Furnace.
Right.
And then a whole bunch of guilds that are 7 of 10.
Right.
So we've got Method. Midwinter's sitting number 2 right now. They've cleared up to 8 of 10 the quickest. And then Paragon, then was it Exorcist, the Russian guild, Blood Legion, and then a bunch of guilds that I haven't seen in the top 10 before. From Scratch, Practice, Moonslinge.
Moonslinge is actually a combo guild. Like they had 2 10-mans and then they combined to a Mythic, I think. I think that's how it went. And
was one named Moon and the other Sling.
It really was. I mean, they took like half of their name. Each team took half their name and combined them together in a weird way.
That makes more sense because it's not like, hey, let's call ourselves Moonslinge. That's not like
I just assumed it was maybe a German word or something like that.
Right.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
No, this is good. There's a lot of good guilds in here. I love seeing Ascension up there in the top 10 again. They're a oceanic guild. They're Australian, but they were raiding on U.S. servers for a long time, and then now they got their own servers, and they're way up there.
Right. And it's really cool. I mean, we just saw Method. They just went 9 of 10, right?
Yeah, it was a couple hours ago.
Wow.
And I gotta tell you, I'm really surprised with Midwinter, man. They are bringing it like crazy.
I know.
They're number 2. They were getting world first. They were just rocking it. Midwinter's doing an amazing, amazing job.
I know they added some people to their roster, like Affinity.
Mm-hmm.
Affinity went from Blood Legion to Midwinter. So
right.
Now he's playing for the other side. Playing for the Alliance now.
The Alliance. That's right.
Look out. So, but it's pretty cool to see them step it up like another notch. It's like they've gotten some serious power going right now.
They really have. And they're a really good group of guys. Like, I remember they used to stream when they were doing all their hardcore stuff. And it was like the most relaxed raid setting I've ever seen.
Right.
They're just like, yeah, all right, no problem. Let's just try it again. Oh, hey, watch out. Okay, now. Like it was great. It worked out great. So I'm really excited for Midwinter. I really, I've been kind of cheering them on. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And I know that everybody has been kind of keeping an eye on this through manaflask.com. They have been really following the raid, the world first stuff forever, really.
Yes.
They did a great job the last, or the intro tier, right? The intro raid. And now that we're in the tier, now they're really bringing it. They've got the whole new setup over at the website. They've got like a simple little icon that'll tell you exactly how many out of 10 are defeated. And so on and so forth. So it's
doing a great
cool.
job.
Yeah. And they post up their opinions about, things that might happen. And one of the things that they posted was, with the current speed of clears, it seems possible and likely that Blackhand will live to see a second reset. Ooh. So they're saying that Blackhand will not be down before Tuesday.
Well, we've got, 2 full, almost, more than 2 full days for Method to work on him.
Right.
But it's likely going to be a really tough fight. I would like to see it go another week, because that just gives, I don't see Method extending their lockout on 9 of 10, to try to kill him. I see them going back through, trying to get more gear, especially if it stays like this. If they're the only ones that are 9 of 10, I see them going back through on Tuesday or whenever their reset is. Because I think their reset is Wednesday or Thursday, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So they have more time.
Yep.
I don't know. They might get him.
Who knows?
I have a feeling today we'll see a couple more of these guilds go 9 of 10, because a few of these guilds have been on Blast Furnace for a few days now.
Mm-hmm. What's the order going? Do you know what that's looking like?
It's
or the last few anyway. The last few were Iron Maidens and then Furnace?
Iron Maidens, Blast Furnace, and then Blackhand.
Right.
With like the train boss usually is in there.
Right.
The Thogar.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I've heard that. Blackhand on Heroic, I've heard, is no joke on Heroic.
Right.
even. So on
Right.
Mythic, I'm sure that's going to add a whole nother layer. And the fights have been a lot of fun. In fact, Trekkie has been streaming. He's with Nihilum now, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nihilum. And I think they're like 6 of 10 or something. Last I checked.
Yeah, I mean, so they're progressing quite
They're
a
doing
bit.
Great, yeah.
And they're streaming, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because and I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing more teams stream, the ones that maybe aren't, the top-notch raiders or whatever, the ones that maybe are not top 10 raid teams, but they're streaming more, and so that you can see these fights, so that you can kind of get an idea for their strat, and watch these mythic bosses, which is really pretty interesting to see how it changes from normal and heroic to mythic. So,
yeah, and I love that, man. That extra little juice that they add in there. Mythic Brackenspore, I love that they added that big tidal wave.
Yeah.
And even looking at, I think it was Mythic Gruel, I think they added these like balls that kind of fly in from the side that you've got to dodge that'll one-shot kill you pretty much, along with everything else. So
right.
I like these little phases or extra things that they add to the Mythic fights. It really makes it interesting.
Yeah, and at one point I'm like, I can't wait to get in and try Mythic and see what's happening and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, I really want to down all these guys on heroic first.
Right.
I really want to see all these guys on heroic first, and then move into Mythic. Do you know what, Darius? Do you know what's going on with our team as far as what the plans are for? Are we just going to go do heroic tonight?
Yeah, we're gonna go back into heroic and clear as much as we can again tonight, and then see how far we get tonight and tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Anything else on the race to world first that you guys want to talk about? Because I mean, we're seeing a lot of cool stuff happening, and I'm just so happy to see some of these teams jump in that haven't been either this high up before or coming into the top 10. It's really cool.
Yeah, I was watching at the very beginning. You saw a lot of these, as soon as the servers went up, a bunch of guilds got 1 of 2 or 2 of 2, 3 of 2, and they started going up. And then when the Chinese servers reset, that guild style war that almost finished world first last half tier, I guess you could say.
Right.
They ended up killing 5 or 6 bosses in the first day. In what took Method and Midwinter and Paragon and Blood Legion, all those guilds, multiple days to do, they cleared in a day. One of the bosses they had killed, I remember looking, they cleared it. They killed a boss, and then they killed the next boss in 27 minutes.
What?
Yeah,
really?
They must not have wiped or anything. Like they must just. I mean, they're just blowing through this content.
That's
but
crazy.
now they seem to have stalled out on. They killed Thogar, the train boss, and they seem to be stuck on Iron Maidens or Blast Furnace, whichever one they decided to go to.
Huh. Wow.
But yeah, I mean, they just tore through this content, and it was really cool to see that.
Right.
That's awesome.
And go ahead.
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
And that is this. What happens? Okay, let's just pretend for a minute, right? Let's just all pretend and think of fantasy, right? So what happens if, the US servers unlock, they open a day before the EU servers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just pretend for a moment that, let's say, a US guild, be it Blood Legion or Midwinter, let's say they go all the way and they kill Blackhand on Mythic, right? They go 10 for 10 on day 1. So it's like world first. And then, Paragon and Method and all them, then their day unlocks and then they clear it, all the way through. How do you decide whose world? Is it like, well, congrats to the US for getting world first, but they got in earlier? Or is it based on time it took?
It took, yeah. So if Paragon did it faster than Blood Legion did, Paragon would be ranked number 1.
Right.
They might not have killed Blackhand first, but there's nothing you can do about that. They have different unlocks, but Paragon would be ranked number 1.
Right. Just because sometimes I see like, and Paragon with a kill, world second. I'm like, well, yes, I guess world second, but that's because they couldn't get in.
Yeah.
Yet. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess you got to look at rankings differently than what world first kills are. You know what I mean? So you can have the world first kill, sure, but that doesn't mean that you're ranked number 1.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean that you're actually the fastest group to go through. It's just there has to be a world first, and they have to do it the way that they do it. And unfortunately, there are there are things in play that that keep people from joining in at the same time. It's kind of weird though, right?
Yeah, I mean, like chat room saying like world first is world first, but if EU never had a chance to even get in there,
right?
That's not fair? Like, congrats to America, world first, we beat Europe. Well, Europe didn't even get in there,
right? World
mean?
first gruel kill. Well, yeah, you guys had a 16-hour head start or whatever the hell.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, it's a good thing the way these things have kind of played out. You know what I mean? Like if EU servers open first, because typically EU tends to be pretty dominant in these Mythic world races. You know what I mean? And they have in the past. So it's actually, maybe it's a good thing that the EU servers open second. I don't know. Because I just think there'd be a lot of drama if like US, killed all, 10 out of 10. And then, well, that's world first. Well, EU didn't get a chance. And,
right.
So I don't know. It's pretty crazy. But I just was wondering that, like, what happens if that ever were to occur? Because I remember in Siege of Orgrimmar, they downed like 7 or 8 bosses, like right out of the gate, like on Mythic. I think it was like Blood Legion or somebody was just tearing through Siege of Orgrimmar and then stopped at, I think, Siegecrafter or something like that. But I was starting to get
everybody
worried.
stopped at Siegecrafter, didn't they?
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. But I just thought, like, what if a US guild cleared it full on Mythic first and then said, we're world first, but EU never got the chance?
Right.
They'd be world first for a day.
Right.
I don't know. I just wonder.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it's cool to hear all this stuff. We'll update you next week. Should be over by next week. Should be. So we'll make sure to update you.
I hope for their sake it's over by next week. Yeah,
because I mean, these guys take time off work. They're they're going
2 whole weeks of raiding 16 hours a day.
Yeah, 16. Some of them are raiding more than that, right? So
yeah,
I mean,
and Trekkie was talking about that too. That at some point these guys got to go back to work.
Yeah.
They got to go. So these hardcore schedules have got to slow down. So
yeah.
We'll see.
And especially if you are on Hans and Franz too long, apparently. So
yes,
the next thing that was reported this week, and actually I knew about this last week, but I thought it was just our raid team. I thought it was just like, some people, some like, random, like 2 or 3 people were like, oh, when I fight Hans and Franz, I get a little motion sickness. Apparently that's a thing though. Yes. According to Blizzard Watch, the new WoW Insider, essentially, they have reported that extreme motion sickness from the room mechanics.
Yes.
So, yes. Have you guys experienced this at all? I don't get this.
I haven't seen it personally. I don't get motion sickness usually though, and the way I try to do that fight too is with as little movement as possible by kind of straddling the conveyor belts. But I've heard a couple people on our team say that they feel like they're getting sick. We haven't had to bench anybody or anything like that though because of it. Right. We've been lucky.
Right. I mean,
well, it was pretty funny. We were in there last Sunday, and Torage, right? He's like amazing, does insane DPS warrior. It's unbelievable. So we get on Hans and Franz, DPS is a little lower. We're fighting, and he's a little bit lower. In fact, I think he's even lower than me. Like something's got to be wrong here, right?
Yeah.
So we get in there, and the fight ends like our first pull, and then all of a sudden he's like, how some people say they get motion sickness? We're like, oh no. And apparently he was like feeling nauseous throughout the fight. So this is a very real thing. And I get it because, the room's moving. You're kind of staring at it. Things are turning and twisting and it's moving. I mean, I totally get it. Fortunately, it doesn't happen to me, but this is becoming a big, big problem. That a lot of people are getting motion sick on Hans and Franz.
Right. They are reporting headaches, confusion, vertigo, and nausea. So,
right, and they're hallucinating. They're getting
that just sounds like a typical raid night with me.
That's true. No, people are getting like facial paralysis. Like it's insane. Well, maybe not.
Maybe not that. Maybe not
maybe
that.
They're not getting that.
Maybe not that. But I mean, it is weird. Maybe you have to put the adult beverages down for that fight.
Yeah, maybe that's not
right. Got to sober up. No more spicy water.
I know.
Got to sober up.
I know. Who wants to get? Oh gosh.
Well, it is unfortunate because this is one of my favorite fights, strictly because of the environment.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate if this environment is causing people to get motion sick. So
yeah, I love this fight actually. The hot pockets coming down. And
yeah, it's the best. But we're also we're not throwing up after each wipe, either.
Right.
Defenseless weakling!
Exactly. That's to those guys that are motion sick.
That's right. All right, let's take a look at patch 6.1 a little bit, and with especially in regard to dungeon quests. So it was on the forums this week that 6.1 is going to actually introduce new daily quests that will set you on a number of different types of tasks. And with these tasks, you've got a random task each day, and it'll bring you into the dungeon, into all these different dungeons that we have now, and you'll have to do something, and then you'll get rewards like gear up to level 655, apparently, which is very cool.
Not bad.
But I don't know. Okay, so this brings up a question for me for raiders out there, for those guys that are going through either raid right now. Is item level 655 a strong enough carrot to dangle in front of people to get them to get back into dungeoning? Because I think that we've done the dungeons. I don't know if we're going back or not. So are you guys dungeoning now? And is this a big enough carrot to bring you in there? Maybe Colt, I'll start with you.
Well, original dungeon loot was 630.
Right.
This is, you said 655, right?
Yeah.
So that's essentially normal high mall gear is 655. Since we started, I've stopped dungeoning. I have not run a dungeon, which is funny because I was like every day was like doing these dungeons like crazy. And then like, in the inn, I get a cool quest and I can get a neat little pet thing. So I'm going to do a dungeon. And I've stopped. I haven't stepped into a dungeon forever.
Right.
I think the best way to get players to do anything in this game is loot.
Right.
It's guaranteed. Like, that's the whole reason why we play. I mean, it is, people. I mean, come on, really. It's all about the loot, baby. But I think that 655, at first when I heard that, I thought, it's a little low. But then what would it be? 670? Like heroic level type gear in high mall? Like, that's crazy. So I think 655 is really good. And it's a great way for your alts. You know what I mean?
Yep.
To gear those guys up. So maybe on your main raider, let's say he's got a 660, 670, 680 eye level. No need to do this, but maybe you got an alt, and you want to gear these up. So this is a good way, a smart way, I think, to get people to start running those dungeons again. And hey, man, if you get 655 loot out of it, that's great. Right. That's fantastic.
Right. Darius, how about you? Are you dungeoning now? And is this big enough for you to go back in there?
No, not at all. I mean, like most people, once I hit the mark to do dungeons, I queue for dungeons, and once the eye level is there, and then once I hit the eye level mark to do LFR, I stop doing dungeons and I start doing LFR. But I don't think I'm going to go back and do, my main. I'm definitely not going to go back and do dungeons for 655 gear. But on alts, I might. But Blizzard has always had a mechanic like this. The previous expansion at the end of it, we saw Timeless Isle. You were able to get, 496 gear that was able to drop off of things, and that was way, way higher than what dungeons were dropping, because the dungeons are always going to be there, and they're always going to drop 630 gear. Like, that's it. They're not going to drop anything higher. They're not going to go back and add new gear to dungeons or anything like that. So now having a catch-up mechanic where you get 655 out of the end of it, of doing the daily, allows you to catch up, because we're now looking at 700s, for eye levels. And once we get another raid, it's going to be even higher than that. So this has just always been in the game, and I'm not surprised that they added something like this. I'm a little surprised they added it so early, but I think it's more interesting, though, with the types of quests that it's going to give, and the fact that you can go to other people's garrisons and get different quests.
Right.
And do those every day.
Yeah, that is the other part of it, is that you can go to other people's garrisons and grab their quests, because it is randomized per garrison. So you might have one that a friend has something different. So that part is kind of cool. And for those guys that are doing either alts or where they're just LFR heroes, these guys have a way to get more gear so that they can get into Blackrock LFR. And I'm not sure what the starting item level is going to be for that. Have they said? I don't know.
I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
But that should be right around the eye level, though, somewhere around there to get into LFR. And so that will be a good way to get in there and check it out and gear up your alts and make sure that you have enough gear to enjoy whatever content you want.
Yeah, because, right now I got a Rhett Pally who I'm trying to gear up. His only option is Dungeons. He's got all the 630 gear. And now LFR. That's his only way. And then World Bosses. That's his only way for him to get gear. So I like this. I can get better gear. And, if I run through an LFR, let's say I don't get any gear. Oh, I can still do these dungeons, get even better gear. So it's just a great way to gear up your alt. It's just more options. It's good.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And that kind of does it for the news this week. And now we move on to the absurdity that is Convert to Raid.
Holy cow.
As we dive into the War Room.
The War Room.
All right, it's time for the War Room. We're opening this up for the first time this expansion. So we're going to take a look at the raids in Warlords of Draenor and give you the 411. This week we have something special. Don't we, Coltrane?
I guess that's one way to put it.
Yeah.
It's definitely special. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, this is, okay, so a certain movie came out this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And this might have something to do with that particular film.
Uh-huh.
So I would encourage all of you, parents, if you've got kids listening, now's the time to hit fast forward.
Well, I mean, yes, probably. I mean, it's going to get a little weird in here, probably.
It's going to get weird. And if you hear like weird, sultry music, just keep going. Just keep fast forward. Just keep going.
It's not going to be that long. But
Right.
yeah, like you were saying, because it's Valentine's Day, because of the movie that just came out this weekend and stuff like that. What do we got for him, Coltrane?
Well, the following bit may not be suitable for some listeners, and you'll know why in just a moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But as you were saying, because it's Valentine's Day,
right,
because
right.
it's one of the hottest movies this weekend.
Hot is the key. Hot is the key.
Then Convert to Raid presents excerpts from the adult novel for raiders in the world of Warcraft, The 50 Shades of Raid, by
boy.
E.L. What's-Her-Name.
That's right. Let me just adjust the music here. Oh boy. It's a story about a human Ret Paladin, female Ret Paladin, of course, and she's raiding like she's never raided before with anyone else ever. It's an erotic thriller filled with sexy talk and bloodlust. And it's narrated by myself and Coltrane, and once again, big apologies to everybody out there, I think. All right, go ahead, Coltrane.
I have fallen for a bad, bad man. Not only is he the warlord of the Blackrock, but geez, he looks so freaking hot. My subconscious is frantically fawning herself, and my inner goddess is swaying and writhing to some primal, carnal rhythm.
Blackhand gives me a quick look, the sweltering heat radiating off his body, and then he eyes his giant slag hammer. Does this mean we're going to have some fun tonight? I ask. His mouth drops open slightly, but he recovers quickly. You don't yet know what you're in for, he replies. You could still run for the hills. Come, I want to show you my playroom.
Holy buckets. That sounds so hot. But why are we looking at a playroom? I'm mystified. You want to play on your Xbox? I ask. He laughs loudly, producing a key from his pocket. He unlocks a door and takes a deep, deep, deep breath. I follow him inside. The instance is huge, sprawling out from us in many tendrils, each of which take my breath away. My inner goddess is jumping up and down, clapping her hands like a 5-year-old.
Down the tunnels of his vast lair lie amazing machines, chains, and contraptions, most of which I've never seen before. Molten rock and fire start to heat up my armor plating. Blackrock whispers in my ear, There's a very fine line between pleasure and pain. They are two sides of the same coin, one not existing without the other. My cheeks flush with excitement as I linger inside the portal, wondering which direction to turn.
I enter a room, dimly lit. I can see two men in the corner, sweating, panting. My heart quickens as one of them speaks.
Ah, I have been waiting for something to pulverize and incinerate.
I quickly leave the room.
So there's our goofy bitch. Yes. And that was the 50 Shades of Raid Blackrock Foundry edition.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yes. It's a lovely, lovely time, isn't it? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I wonder why I do this show.
You're not the only one. I think there are some people in here that are...
Get in line, buddy.
Right. I think we're seeing from the chat room exactly question mark out of 10.
Yeah.
Right.
What is going on? So that's a little bit of 50 Shades for you. And I figured that what we do on this here, fellas, let's go through the bosses. Let's talk about kind of the abilities, some of the things we'll be doing during these fights. And if you have anything else other than what's written here, we can definitely chat about it at the time. I'm going to play some music, though, because I always think that this goes better with music, especially in long lists. So let's play some music. And first of all, we're going to go into the Slagworks, which is one of the wings, the first wing that you're going to see in LFR. And first up, we have Gruel. Darius, what's Gruel doing?
So Gruel is a tank and spank, less spank, more tank.
Yeah.
Your tanks really need to coordinate with what they're doing and watch out for petrify and stay out of stuff on the floor. That's pretty much it.
It's a pretty basic encounter, right? I mean, it's not too bad.
That's right. Make sure you spread out. You got a little range on the petrify. You don't want to freeze your buddies.
Right.
You're good to go.
Right. Coltrane or Gorger. That's right.
Two-phase fight. Essentially, phase one, make sure ranged is grouped together at max range and stay out of the pools of wretched black rock on the floor. It's like this green stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Tanks need damage mitigation and cooldowns active for acid torment. And phase two, he rolls and rolls around.
That's a fun phase.
Yes. Now, phase two, quick suggestion for strategy here. Just follow everyone else. If he runs into you, if you're with everyone, it wipes the whole raid. It's not your fault. So if you find yourself alone and then you get killed, that's your bad. So just follow the group and you'll be fine.
Right. And the other thing, too, is stay behind him when he's rolling. He doesn't roll backwards. So that's another thing. All right, let's move on to the Blast Furnace, Darius. This is a three-phase fight, right?
This is Blast Furnace. Phase one is release the boss from the furnace by blowing it up with bombs. Phase two is knock out the shields on the 4-primal elementalists and kill them all to activate the boss. And phase three is nuke the boss, watching the pools of melt on the floor. Yeah,
this is a little bit more complex of a fight, as we noted, or as Blizzard said, I think a week or two ago, that as you move on to the end boss of the wing, it will get more complicated, a little bit tougher, and this one definitely seems a little bit tougher.
So this guy's like a mini end boss.
Yeah, really is. Really is.
Pretty good.
All right, let's move on to the Black Forge, that wing with Hans'gar and Franzok. Colt, what's going on with these guys?
Old Hans and Franz, both bosses have a shared health pool. What? Windwalkers? And you'll be fighting both. Unless one is running the conveyor belts, then prepared for either searing plates or getting pulverized by the stamping machine. Once again, big environment fight, a lot of fun. You're going to have stuff coming out, big Pop-Tarts, you got to dodge those. Then there's going to be a certain phase where these plates are going to light up. Don't be standing in those lit up plates, you're going to get smashed.
Right, and maybe bring an airsick bag.
Yes, and bring airplane airsick bag.
Right. Yeah, all right, Darius, next up we have Flamebender Kagraz.
So this is a fight with range. You spread out, watch for fire lines. She's gonna gain abilities. It's she, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She gains abilities at certain thresholds when she gains energy. This includes Cinder Wolves, Firestorm, and I can't remember the other thing. But it's the Firestorm is a big AOE damage. Everybody stacks up, and the Cinder Wolves are these wolves that you kite, a lot like Korgath in.
And it seems like kind of a fun fight. I mean, I wasn't actually in it this last week because I had something else going on, but I saw it on the stream and it looked pretty fun.
Yeah, and the big thing with the Cinder Wolves, make sure they die at the exact same time. They need to go down, I think, within 10 seconds of each other or something like that?
Seconds, I think, yeah.
10 or 15, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have Kromog, right? The Colt.
Yes, this is like old Kolagarn from back in the day. You kind of get his upper torso. He's going to, through these runes of crushing earth, will spawn 2 earthen hands. Don't get the clap.
No.
That's mainly for ranged. Don't get the clap.
Don't get it.
No, you don't want that.
Life advice.
No.
However, you do want to get in the runes of grasping earth. These are these other runes, and there's going to spawn these hands that are going to hold on to you, and you need to be in these things because when he starts pounding the ground, if you're not grasped, if he's not holding on to you, you're going to fly up into the air and die, and it's going to be bad news.
Right. Yes, don't get the clap. Let's move on to the Iron Assembly to Beast Lord Darmak. Darius.
Woo! So this is the hunter. For range, you want to spread out and not get pinned down by spears. Pretty easy to avoid. And from time to time, he's going to pick a beast around the room, the one that he's standing closest to, and he's going to gain their abilities. And then you have to defeat that beast and then the boss.
Right. And another good idea here is to make sure that you're trying to get those spears down as they kind of litter the room because they're doing damage too, right?
They will do damage to the raid as well.
So,
and a quick thing for melee too, when he jumps out, run out, because he's going to jump right back in and cause this ability called Rend, which is going to stack up and do a lot of damage. So as soon as he jumps out, you run away before he jumps back.
Right on. Let's talk about Operator Thogar. Coltrane.
This is the train boss.
This is the train boss. It really is. Actually, here.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah.
Choo-choo, mofo. This fight is insane. This encounter takes place on 4 active train tracks.
Right.
Some trains bring cannons. Others bring adds. Pretty much a fairly straightforward fight. Just watch your caboose.
Right. And bring your train jokes.
Yes.
Otherwise, you may derail the raid.
That's right. It'll be end of the line. That'll be it.
I don't think we killed just an Asparagus Initiative without the majority of the fight people just spitting out train puns and train jokes.
That's true. Towards the end of the night, we started to run out of steam, though.
Right.
It was really getting rough.
But we did stamp his ticket, which is good.
We did. We did indeed. Yes.
All right. Let's move on to Iron Maidens. Darius.
This is a complex council-style fight. There's 3 different bosses, and they don't share health pools, and they have separate abilities. At some points, the bosses with the lowest health will jump to a ship, and some of your raid have to defeat the adds that spawn.
Right. And this looks like a fun fight. We did not do this fight last week, but hope to get in there this week, maybe.
It's supposed to be the fight created for Windwalkers, so excited to get in there on this one.
Right.
Especially after 6.1.
Yeah. But it looks like a lot of fun, and you split the raid up, and you go, move way across the instance. That's amazing. Coltrane, what is going on with Blackhand?
Well, he's the big bad boy of the old Foundry, and also in 50 Shades of Raid. On this fight, it's a several phase fight. It looks a lot of fun, like a big end boss kind of fight. You'll have to look out for spears, bombs, and falling debris while avoiding shattering smash, unless you're one of the tanks. You'll be fighting in 3 different rooms in 3 different phases, the last of which intensifies all of his regular abilities. This is pretty awesome.
This looks like a cool fight, and I can't wait to get in there and mix it up.
Yeah, literally the ground breaks and you fall to a different area pretty much each time, and it's unbelievable. Looks like a great last boss fight encounter. A lot of stuff in the environment going on, a lot of cool animations, a lot of cool stuff.
Right. And that is the basic overview for all of these fights. Now, I just want to bring up one thing, and that is that obviously we're not doing strats today. That would take way too long, right? I mean, that would just take forever, especially with all 10 bosses. So we'll give you the overview of what to expect during these fights. But for strats and stuff like that, we recommend heading to sites like Fat Boss TV, like Icy Veins. Gapesta, I think, is coming out with them slowly, but they're very in depth, and so it's very important to get that sometimes. And coming soon to the Convert to Raid website, we talked about these guys last week. 2-minute tips with LOS Gaming.
Woo!
I talked to them this week, and they're like, I'm like, we got to have you on our site, and they were ecstatic. So we're gonna have those guys on our site at some point in the near future, hopefully this week. So be looking for that as well. And they do 2-minute tips, in, out. It's the ETT thing.
Yes.
Right.
Effective toilet time. When you're on the toilet.
Right.
Although, I got to admit, for me, it's a little bit longer than 2 minutes.
Well, you can watch two. You
get
can watch a couple of them.
I can get about 30 boss fights in.
Just when I thought the show couldn't get any weirder.
Well, we
get
told you
about
to bring
30
your
to
air
40.
sick bags before, so now
right.
you might want to.
That's right.
It's
cold.
It really is.
Getting
Really
it
is.
done.
Uh-huh.
Getting it done.
So yeah, for all the strats and stuff like that, please go to the normal places. We'll be probably talking about these guys as we roll through now that we're in the tier stuff. So please check them out. Anything that you guys want to bring up about these bosses or about the encounters that you've seen so far?
Just been a ton of fun, man. Really enjoying them. Very neat. I like the environments that have been really included. That seems to be a kind of a big thing that Blizzard's doing a lot with these fights. I just dig it, man. I'm digging Foundry. I don't know if it's just because it's new, but I am loving these fights so far. So, and that train boss is unbelievable. It's incredible.
It's pretty wild, man.
It really is.
And it's not like it's that difficult to understand what's going on. It's just all the movement because of the trains, and you're always like freaking out and seriously watching your butt as go across the track just in time to make sure that you're missing some of these things. So yeah, making sure you're in the right place.
There was a great moment during the Asparagus Initiative raid where Darius was making the call outs like, go to purple, go to blue, get off blue, and he said, all right, go to purple, go to purple. No, wait, I mean, don't go to purple. Boom! The whole raid got taken out.
Yeah. 20 guys flying through the air. It was pretty awesome.
It was payback for all the train jokes and puns.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was on purpose.
Mhm.
You're right about that. You're
Mhm.
right.
It gives you something to chew on.
Yes,
Ah.
exactly. Yeah.
All right, let's get to some questions.
We've got mail.
We do, and if you have a question about anything for us about rating or really anything else, just let us know. We'll try to answer it on the show. You can always email us at converttoraid@gmail.com. You can call our raid line 612-787-RAID. Tweet us, all that kind of fun stuff, whatever. First up, we have an email, and Coltrane, can you grab this one, please?
Yes, I think it's time we conducted ourselves properly.
Right.
This is from Rishmail from CtR Ordos, raiding with the Banana Republic raid team and loving it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've been looking for some good resources for class and or even role-specific blogs or sites that you guys might know of. I play a prot warrior and can't seem to find any specific warrior resources beyond the general, yet still great Icy Veins, Wowhead, MMO Champ, etc. I know Sloopbag does a great prop pally site, and I'm hoping someone out there is doing that for warriors as well. Anywho, thanks, Duders.
Right. So we're talking about prot warriors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Specifically. Darius, you know of other resources that this guy might be able to look at?
No, I honestly have no idea. Prot Warriors are one of the few classes I've never played to max and don't know much about. My suggestion would have been what he's already done: Icy Veins, Wowhead, MMO Champ. The MMO Champ forum's usually really good. If someone hasn't posted anything, you can usually ask on there, and someone will give you. You might get 4 snarky answers and 1 real answer, but
right,
you'll probably get the answer. But a site specific, I'm at a loss at this one.
I might suggest Preach Gaming, because I know that Preach plays everything, really, and I think that might give some better idea about what's going on with Prot Warriors. I'm not saying how recently he's done it, but I know that he goes through every class, every spec, and he plays them, and he tells you what's going on with them, and he tells you what he likes about them and what he doesn't like about them. So make sure to check him out. And if you see a raid team where, I mean, especially as we're going through the Mythic race, right? If you see one of these top tier raid teams with a prot warrior in it, most likely they have a stream going somewhere. Maybe not right now, but they have a stream going at some point, and you can ask them questions on Twitch or whatever.
Yeah,
right,
in Asparagus Initiative, our main tank is a prot warrior. Just whisper him when he's online. He'd love that. Just everybody whisper him.
Just everybody whisper him.
That's right.
Yeah.
A couple quick things too. Believe it or not, the Method forums are actually pretty good. Methodwow.com. They've got some nice guides there. There was also a podcast for Warriors. It was a little short-lived, but it was called Commanding Shout.
Oh, yeah.
That was out for a little while, so that might be worth checking out. It's more of a Warrior roundtable discussion, but there might be some tips in there, possibly for prod. Again, it wasn't that they didn't do that many episodes, but it was a decent show when it was on. And also in regards to Preach, I don't believe he's done an updated Prot Warrior one yet.
Okay,
but he will be soon. He's going through all the classes and getting everything going. But I agree, Preach Gaming is a fantastic resource. That guy's amazing. He's a really, really great guy. But also, yeah, check out the Method WoW. And I got to tell you, in regards to MMO Champion, they've kind of become, in a weird way, the new kind of elitist jerks forums.
Yeah.
You know, elitist jerks used to be the go-to place, and they kind of faded out a little bit on certain classes.
Yeah.
They're still going strong for others, but MMO Champ forums, believe it or not, has become a decent resource.
And Icy Veins is really good too. I mean, I think that those guys have really. We've seen those guys step it up over the last couple of years, and they've done a really great job. So, Icy Veins is a really good resource for everybody out there. I think no matter what spec you play. So
absolutely,
that's good. All right, let's go.
Icy dash veins.
Yeah, icy dash veins. Dash. All right.
Dash.
Dash. Darius, can you get the next question for us, please?
This is from Prodigum LB. I think I'm saying that right. It says, Is it about time now that we should be able to change into any spec we choose? Gear is so transferable now, and as a druid healer, I need a DPS spec, but I would like to tank if needed. I can't level alts because of Garrison Overload.
Garrison Overload. I feel you, man. I have like 4 different alts that have Garrison stuff going on. I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy with Garrison stuff. Coltrane, is it time that we just drop this dual spec thing and just say, hey, you know what? You want to play something? Go play it.
Right. This is the classic, like, tri-spec. Everybody wants the 3-spec, you know, business, right?
I want all 4.
Right. Exactly.
For my druid, I definitely want all 4.
Why are you limiting us? I think that the argument in the past has been, and this may or may not hold weight with you, is that, you know, it makes people in some ways unique in a weird way. Like some people are like, oh, I'm resto balance. Oh, I'm actually tank balance. I'm guardian balance. You know, I don't know. But I mean, yeah, I guess at this point, right? Shouldn't we be able to just play what we want to play and just have a good time?
Yeah.
I tend to agree with that. I don't know why it's restricted to just 2.
Right. And then that way, I mean, especially as you move through these different raids, right? I mean, your team might have different needs. And it doesn't matter what level you play at. I mean, there's going to be a one time where you want, like, let's say you're monk. Let's just go with monks. Like, you're having a really tough time and you want to try out some different strats, and so you're like, well, maybe we need a third tank here. So, hey, Mr. Monk, can you please go into Brewmaster mode, and then we'll just see if that works. Or the other way and say, oh, you know, heals are really having a tough time. Can you switch from Windwalker and go Mistweaver? Please, just do it. And
just do it and quit complaining about it.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And, you know, same thing for druids. I mean, because balanced druids, you know, the crit chicken, those guys are really awesome with AoE damage, and ferals aren't, and I don't know.
Well, Boomkins, though, they're getting a nerf to Starfall coming up in 6-1. They're not too happy about that.
No, but they had it good for all of Highmaul. So
they had it real good. And in Foundry so far. In Foundry, their numbers are insane right now.
Yeah. So get ready, chickens. It's times they change, don't they?
Absolutely.
Darius, how about you? Do you think it's just time to drop it or what?
I don't know. I kind of like that having 2 specs limits you. It adds gravity to the choice. You know, it's I like that. I think they've taken a lot out of the game lately in regards to this kind of stuff, and I think keeping that is a good idea. And for most people, 2 specs is still plenty. Most people, they play 1 spec, and having a second is just something they have. I've seen you try to feral Zug, and that's embarrassing.
Oh, come on. Come on. It's not bad. It's not that bad. And I don't think you've actually seen me feral. I think you saw me boom chicken and you were laughing to yourself.
Oh, you were trying to
Quietly.
you were trying to boom chicken in cat form. Maybe that was the problem.
That might have been it.
Or he saw you feral in real life. You were using the litter box. Yeah. Zach, get out of the litter box, buddy. Come
Right.
on.
But I think for a lot of people, this would lead to a situation where you go into a raid and you go in as a boomkin, let's say, and that's all you know how to play. That's what you enjoy playing. But now you're on this raid team and they need an off tank for whatever reason. And like, well, you're a druid, just swap to bear spec, guardian spec.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've got this pressure of, well, I don't want to let my raid team down, but I have no idea how to play it and I don't enjoy it. And I don't think that's a good situation to put people in.
I don't get what you're saying at all.
I don't understand any of that.
No.
Was that English?
We just play the best spec available, right? I mean, that's what we always do. As raiders, we just play the best spec. The ones that's going to help the team the most, right?
That's right. Boom shakalaka.
All right. Well, we have another email from Thanatos, and this says, I was wondering what your thoughts on professions are. I currently have a boatload of tunes that I manage, and the main reason I leveled so many to start with is for the self-reliance. And now I feel like professions are more work than what they're worth, and most gear is replaced with the first LFR pieces unless you constantly upgrade. Do you think Blizz went the right direction? Do you think this is okay? If not, what would you have done different? Okay, so we're talking about professions. I'm not a big profession guy. I will profess that I am not big on professions. But are you guys big into professions, and do you see the same thing or what? Darius, how about you?
No, I mean, this is how it is with every expansion. You're able to craft weapons and items and things like that will get you into the first raid or the first LFR, but they're always replaced right away, and then there's no alternative. So that's not anything new.
Well, the new thing has been with crafted gear, you have to usually get something from like a different gathering profession. Like leatherworking, you have to grab herbs for some reason. Or, and to upgrade, everybody needs bloods. And so it's like, really?
But that's always been there. There's always been some item that is required for the epics that you craft or something like that. It's whether it's a boatload of raid materials, something like a Serenite or whatever it was in Wrath. You needed that in order to make the crafted stuff. There's always something you need, and as I was telling Colt earlier in the week, as soon as you buy or make a crafted item, the next time you raid, something better is going to drop. It's a guarantee.
Right.
It's coded into the game, I'm sure. This is it's always been like this. That's not anything new. I feel like right now there's a lot. We're coming out of mists where everybody did their dailies on all their professions, and there was never enough. Always up until now, there's never enough ore, there's never enough herbs, there's never enough whatever. But now that you've got a mine and you've got the herb garden, all that kind of stuff, there's an abundance of materials, and you've always just got way too much stuff now. I feel like they've made professions, gathering professions, all but worthless at this point. But the crafted ones, whether it's the alchemy trinket or the jewel crafting necklace or whatever, those I feel like have always been easy to replace.
And maybe the question is, and Colt, maybe you can answer this one, is do you think that they did the right thing by kind of minimizing all of the gathering professions and kind of putting more emphasis on the crafting ones? Is that something that you enjoy, or is that something that I don't know?
I think that's something that I enjoy, because now the fun stuff are the actual crafting professions.
Right.
And nobody's like, oh, I can't wait to go out into the world and mine ore. I'm so pumped. Like, this is going to be great. Like, I get to herb. Now then again, there are people, and I used to be one of them too, that found it very relaxing.
Yeah.
something very kind of soothing and relaxing, mining ore and gathering herbs. But it's not like the juice, the good stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I recently started another tune, just boosted one up. And I was like, oh, I could do leatherworking and alchemy. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'll get the stuff I need. I set my traps for my leather, and I could get my herb garden for my herbs for alchemy. So I think that that's a good thing. In regards to the very first question, like Darius said, it's always been this way. The thing that they have actually added is being able to upgrade those items, in a way.
Right.
So I think that that's a good thing. So, but yeah, it is kind of funny. We went from not having enough to now having an overabundance. But to say to your question, Zug, I like it that they've kind of shifted. You don't necessarily need a gathering profession. Before you did. And what happened was you had to have alts. Like I had my main that was like, I remember on my mage, he was like a tailor and like an engineer or something like that. But then I had to have an alt that was like mining and herbing or something to pay for the professions on my main, to cover the resources. So I think it's in a much better place now than it has been in the past.
That's why I had my DK, man. Use my miner and leatherworking. No, not the skinner. So, and now you don't need that stuff. It's kind of weird though. I mean, I always kind of enjoyed mining. That was always fun and just kind of relaxing, like you said.
Right.
And now I am no longer flying around on my druid looking for stuff. Instead, I am just going to. I went enchanting. I dropped herbing and I went enchanting because it seemed like the best next choice. I don't know. So I don't know if it's better. It's different, and I kind of like the gathering thing not being there, kind of. But yeah. I'm not sure if they really went full in on professions like they said that they were going to BlizzCon 2013, right? Because they said they were going to change it all up, make it so much better, and blah, 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 blah. I'm not sure if they necessarily hit that goal.
Well, I find it interesting that I can have an enchanter's building, and I'm not an enchanter, but be able to disenchant items.
That is nice.
That's kind of cool.
Little things like that are just great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And maybe that should be it for this week. Now let's just call it right there. I think we're good. Right. And let's move on to some 5-star reviews from iTunes. And Darius, from your remote location, who do we have to thank this week?
We have Faye Matt Rob. That's all one name. We have I'd Take Two. And we have Malex Wow.
Malox Wow, I think that's what it is.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
Wow.
Any shout outs this week, fellas?
I have one. I want to give a shout out to Hillbilly Zombie. He's a warlock that was formerly of Asparagus Initiative, and his daughter turned 1 on Monday.
Hey, all right.
Congrats, Hillbilly.
Tuesday, I think it is. On the 17th, she turns 1 year old.
Like on Tuesday?
Yeah, on the 17th.
Wow, my birthday. That's awesome.
He said he forces her to listen to CtR.
Of course.
Already.
Well, hopefully not today's episode, though.
Right.
Let's hope that old Hillbilly Zombie hit.
Because otherwise, I might change your first words. You don't want that. You don't want that. And hey, I wanted to give a shout out to Coltrane, actually, because you tweeted something this week that really kind of touched something for me, and that was thanking people on the internet. You like Scott Johnson, you said thank you for putting in the time both on your show and off of them. Thank you for being a part of this community, and isn't it about time that we really try to turn this internet thing around and try to celebrate positive people. So thank you, Coltrane, for posting that really meant something to me.
Oh, that's nice, man. Yeah. That's great. Well, we do. We tend to focus on the negative, on the bad, and it's good to recognize the positive, because a lot of wonderful, positive people out there, and we need to recognize them and focus on them, and not all this negativity.
Right. Just like you guys out there, we cannot thank you guys enough. Thank you for taking the time to rate us on iTunes. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for all the stuff that you do with YouTubes. When it's nice. Let's celebrate the nice stuff on YouTube.
Exactly, the positivity.
And please feel free to join in on any of the conversations we're having at any time. But first, speaking of horrible, I need to get rid of this music. I need to just bail on it.
What, you're just going to bail out? Bail out of that?
Yep, just going to bail out of that, and I'm going to play This one.
All right.
There we go. All right. You can always email us at converttoraid@gmail.com. You can call us and leave comments and questions on our raid line, 612-787-RAID. That's 612-787-7243. You can follow us on Twitter at converttoraid or even individually, right, Coltrane?
You can follow Pat Crane at Pat Crane. You can follow Coltrane at _Coltrane. And you can follow Dairies at Board Mine.
Right. And you can always join the Bazubu Guapo Nation by heading over to converttoraid.com, where we have show downloads, we have forums, we have tons of links for raiders. Coming soon, we have the 2-minute tips from LOS Gaming for both High Mall and Blackrock. So be looking for that soon. And we have a ton more. We have all our videos, our audios, everything. Our live feed and video show is all on GameBreaker.tv. Please make sure to watch, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And live streaming
Click
now.
all the buttons.
Live streaming now, we are on alphageekradio.com. And for those that want to listen live through their mobile device or Roku, so there's that option now. And the audio show is available on Stitcher, blah, 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 all the other places. iTunes, whatnot. If you can't find it, let us know. And let us know how you got this information.
Right.
How did you watch this show? All right.
How did this happen? I'm so sorry.
Exactly. The Convert to Raid podcast is produced and distributed by Signals Media. Make sure to check out our friends at signalsmedia.com. We are a part of the Signals Media All-Star Network. And that's going to do it for this show. We had a good time. We hope you didn't. We hope you didn't mind the 50 Shades of Raid.
Right. We apologize for that.
We do, as always. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on our next show next week at our regular time, Sunday, 11 a.m. Central. And for all the guys at Convert to Raid, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.